Hello and welcome back to Guildhall. I'm Michelle Murphy, your host today, and I'm sitting here in the auditorium of Guildhall with our wonderful Ruth Appelhof, the Executive Director of Guildhall. And we want to tell you how happy we are to be here. We at LTV love being here with you folks.
Thank you.
And it's always inspiring and exciting, and especially sitting here in your spectacular new theater.
It is a gorgeous theater, I must say. We renovated it a couple of years ago.
Yes.
And since then, I'm saying, and I don't think I'm the only one that says this, that Guildhall is experiencing a renaissance, because every one of our programs is packed full of people. We have wonderful talent on the stage. It's just an amazing transformation for us. So I'm glad you've noticed, and other people have as well.
Yes, everybody is abuzz about it and excited. And last summer, I know there were so many events you had here that were sold out, we couldn't even get into.
Yeah.
And if we got our tickets in time, though, boy, did we have a good summer. And I know I did.
Thank you.
I came to everything I possibly could.
Yeah.
So I kind of lived here.
Well, that's good. I do too. So
Yeah, I
both
felt
of
so
us.
fulfilled from all of the experiences I had here. You must be a bit exhausted from all you and your staff put into it.
I think we have to take our hats off to this wonderful, hardworking staff here at Guildhall. We're very small staff, very few of us actually. But
How many about run Guildhall?
Oh,
on the
about a
staff?
dozen people.
A dozen
and not
people.
all of them are full time.
Wow.
So,
That's
and in the
amazing.
summer we had a few people. when we're
And you
doing
have
so
very
much.
specialized roles, so
That's
each
right.
person, I always get the feeling their plate is entirely full because they're in charge of all of this,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, there's the theater, and
Right.
there's also the museum, which is fully accredited and has a major visual arts program. And then there's our education program, which is
Right.
a wonderful way for us to bring both theater and museum together and really make it personally a wonderful experience for our community in ways that they can participate. So they get to make the art, or they get to learn how to sing a song.
Right.
But that's our education program.
Is there anything quite like it on Long Island?
No, there isn't. In fact, there's nothing
Interesting.
really quite like it in the whole United States. You know,
Really? My
well,
goodness. I've only lived in this area,
Yeah,
so I
no.
don't even know. That's quite something.
No, I mean, sometimes you would think, well, Lincoln Center is similar, but it doesn't have the museum side to it.
Right.
Or the Walker, which has a lot of museum, but not much performance. And we try to keep a balance of both. But we started, you know, one of the most important artists of the 19th century was Winslow Homer.
Yes.
And he was the first to come out here in 1874. And he brought all the other artists out, started an art colony, and we still have an art colony today. You're
right,
one of
in
those artists.
Southampton. Oh, thank you. Yes.
Well, in East Hampton.
I see what you're saying. I was thinking of the actual studios there in Southampton.
Well, we have studios here in East Hampton,
That's
too.
right. I have one of
Yeah,
them.
yeah, that's right. You and,
Yeah,
of
yeah.
course, you know, Richard Prince and so many of the artists that we show here
Yes.
are East Hampton artists, and we're
Absolutely.
very, very proud of the great talent that we have in this area.
Do you have things planned even for next year, Guildhall, involving the cabaret kind of
I
performances?
think we're working on that now, but
Is that
we,
maybe private until we
Yeah.
have to wait and see? We're always surprised.
Yes, to be announced, I think. But I can
Yeah.
assure you that we are looking at so many of the great talents out here and in the city, and they love coming out here. We give them a weekend on the beach, you know, a little singing in between time. But it's a wonderful way for us to get very, very exciting talent on our stage. And
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to next year. We've had some great people here in the past.
I know.
so we're very fortunate because we get all these Broadway stars to come to Guildhall.
Right.
And that, I think, is the, you know, that's just such an unbelievable opportunity for our community.
Yes.
You know, Guildhall is only 2.5 hours outside of New York.
Right.
But to get people out here, we have to be sure that they're appreciated and and that they're given what I would say is a world-class treatment when they get here.
And they get it. We know that.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, I think also Broadway is kind of changing now. I'm always very interested with the Tonys and what's going on. And you see so many people from Hollywood now coming on Broadway and starring in things. And I know, like, you look at someone like Richard Burton, who crossed over, and Elizabeth Taylor, she'd suddenly be on Broadway doing something, and then you'd see her on a film. So that seems to be happening more. Because you look at someone like Ethel Merman, who was really, as far as I know, just a Broadway singer, actress. You didn't see her much on film. But things are changing lately. And I think Broadway can feel a little threatened by that, and also a little bit like there's new juice in the air, like this is a good thing. And then Disney coming in the act. It's just so different.
Matthew Broderick and Alec Baldwin were on our stage this past weekend, and they were both talking about their careers. And both of them said that they much prefer being on Broadway, being in a play, having the theater as, their main avenue of creativity rather than films. That they really felt that the theater was where they could get the most out of it themselves. And I thought that was beautifully
refreshing to hear.
Yes, yeah.
Because getting in their shoes, it's such an entirely different art form. In a film, it's a small take. You have to have lines down for a little scene. There's no audience. I mean, it's obvious the things that I'm saying, but it is so entirely different. It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, and they both said they just love the theater and love being here on our stage, which is very nice. But
we're lucky to have them as neighbors.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just see them in the post office or at the grocery store, and next thing you know, they're.
And I think that's one of the real geniuses of Guildhall is that we do take advantage of all of our wonderfully talented neighbors out here.
Yes.
So they all help and participate, and they all do it for free.
Yeah.
We very much appreciate it.
And we are quite a community out here. Not only the artist community, but the theatrical community. So many actors and directors and budding playwrights, and you've got the Naked Stage going here, which all of you may know about, which we're going to get to a little later with Josh. And I wanted to ask you, Ruth, about this spectacular equipment you have now where you can have HD performances.
Surround sound, high definition, Blu-ray. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. State of the art, yeah.
That's changed your programming entirely, hasn't it?
Absolutely. I think that for the first time since I've been here 12 years, we'll be programming every single week throughout the entire winter until May. So
We're not gonna
every
be-
week. We've always done Naked Stage. We've always done a free movie that the East Hampton Library was so generous about providing. But now we have all of these HD live programs. The Metropolitan Opera is one of our favorite programs here. And of course, because it's live, it's always Saturday at 1 o'clock. Because, it's 1 o'clock at the Met in New York.
Yes.
And we're also doing the National Theatre from London. And those productions have been quite amazing. I think London theatre may be the best in the world.
Yes.
And now we can offer it to our community at a very minimal price. Everybody can come. And
It's about $22 a ticket.
Exactly.
And I saw Kitchen.
Yeah.
That was.
Frankenstein was a great show.
I heard.
Yeah, just wonderful. And then as our third offering this winter, we're thrilled to be bringing the Berlin Philharmonic here. And actually, they are the very best in the world. So we'll be seeing their concerts here. And in fact, they will be doing one. We're doing Saturdays in January, February, March, and April. But in April, in fact, we're doing it on Sunday.
Oh.
So it will be live from Moscow on Sunday afternoon.
What time do you have to do it to make it live?
Well, it will be shown here at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
At 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
And is that actually the same time it's going on there?
Yeah.
So how about with London? How does that work?
They're actually not simulcast.
I didn't
They're-
think it was
They're
possible.
encore. We call
Yeah.
them encore performances.
Right. So it's from the same performance, but a slightly different hour, just
Yeah,
because it
that's
would be
right.
very inconvenient.
Yes, it's not convenient. for
Right.
us. But
Right.
they're remarkable performances, and people who are on our board of trustees who go to London to see these performances say that they love it even more in HD because you
Yes.
get close-ups, you get
Yeah.
comments from the director and the actors during intermission,
Right.
as you do with the Metropolitan Opera, where you have Renee Fleming walking around interviewing the cast or the conductor during intermission. So you really begin to understand the whole process of putting on an opera
Yeah.
much more fully. It's very
It's a
inspiring.
very intimate experience. I know seeing Kitchen, even if you have fifth row center seats,
Yeah.
there's nothing quite like this HD experience.
That's right. Yeah.
It's a real honor to and a privilege to be here and see
beautiful.
this opportunity.
And with our new sound system,
Oh.
we're also offering people the very, very highest quality in sound and surround sound. So they really get a great afternoon or evening here.
And this is great, just like we were speaking of earlier about the American Songbook, that young people are going to be exposed now
Yes.
to these kind of cultural experiences right here in Guildhall.
I know it.
Whew.
It's marvelous for us.
heady.
And we're very, very glad that we have so many people helping us, such as yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'm part of the extended family, I
Yeah,
like to think.
definitely you are.
And I know you have some very interesting art exhibitions opening. If you could
Yes.
just tell us a little bit about those.
Well, we are thrilled to be exhibiting work by an artist whom I have followed for the last 2 or 3 decades. His name is Rafael Ferrar.
Oh.
And he's originally from Puerto Rico and lives on the North Fork. We only exhibit artists from the East End here. So Rafael has very generously agreed to exhibit his work here, which is it's so powerful. Bright colors, very primitive, very direct images. Just some wonderful work that I know people will respond to immediately.
Yes.
And after that show opens, and that show will open with Drew Shiflett, who won one of our member
Here we are.
shows. Yes.
With Drew.
Beautiful. Her work is
Absolutely.
amazing. Quite the opposite of Raphael.
And
that-
very different. They're going to make a
she's-
great pairing.
Yeah, they are.
Yes.
Yeah, she's very
Here we
precise
go.
and very minimalist. So it's the
And
two
that,
side by side will be
yes.
great.
So it's going to be a very big weekend around here. On November 5th at 6:30, there is the opening for these two spectacular artists that we were just discussing. And also there's the Fiesta. Can you just quickly,
Yes.
before we leave, tell us a little about that?
Well, we've done this every year to huge crowds. I think the last couple of years we've had close to 700 people coming. So it is a great way to get our Latin American community in here. It's all free. We want everyone to come.
What
And,
fun.
and it's music, and actually this year we have a wonderful puppet group coming in, and they'll be speaking in both Spanish and English.
Boy.
So if you're bilingual, you'll love both equally. And of course, with the Rafael Ferrar show in the galleries, we're going
Yes.
to be hoping that people can come in and enjoy that as well. But our effort here is to bring in that community that we love and appreciate so much.
That's fantastic. What a great thing to look forward to
Yeah.
in November. And thank you again, Ruth, so much for being with us today.
You're
and
welcome, thank you.
walking away a little bit from your busy schedule and sitting with us and telling us what we can all look forward to. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay. We'll see you very soon.
Okay.
Hello once again, and I'm here with one of my favorite people, Josh Gladstone. And he is the artistic director of Guildhall, and here he is in person.
Hello.
Wow, you
How are
have
you? Thanks for having me.
you have had some summer.
It's been a busy summer, and as I
Yeah.
mentioned, I'm in recovery. So
Right.
but you know, no rest for the wicked. So
Right.
there's more programming coming up, and it
know.
never ends. At
Never
Guildhall, it
ends.
never ends. We have an extensive roster of activity, so you will always be culturally enthused if you come here. And I will tell you some of those things coming up if you would like to hear them, Michelle.
We are all
But
ears.
I'm not going. I don't have them memorized. In the summer, I have the schedule in my brain.
You do.
But in the fall,
but
I
now
have
he's
to refer
burned
to
out.
notes because I'm barely awake. So, but I will tell you that the very popular Metropolitan Opera live and high def telecast series has returned. This is our second season doing this. The
Boy.
Village allowed us to put satellites on the roof, which was very gracious of them. And now we can beam from the Met these incredible telecasts. They run. We had one last night, Anna Bolena, and we have a whole slew of them coming up between November and all the way into April and May. And if you like opera, this is great because you can see the beads of sweat forming on the lips of the opera singers. You have an incredibly intimate experience. It's almost like they're going to swallow you. So you have to watch out. But the first one that I think is coming up with this broadcast is Siegfried, Wagner Siegfried, on Saturday, November 5th. But then there's a whole host of other ones, a crazy new Philip Glass, or old Philip Glass piece, but new music,
Really?
Satyagraha, which is very Philip Glass, Philip Glass, Philip Glass, Philip Glass, Philip Glass. If you like
Who was
Philip
that
Glass,
again?
Philip Glass, you should come to
Okay.
Satyagraha. And others in the series include Rodalinda and Faust in December.
Wow.
And there's a whole, just visit the website, guildhall.org, and there's a dozen of them. And we also have, in the same vein, in the telecast, the National Theatre of London, which is sort of the preeminent West End theatre in London, does these telecasts as well. A lot of the big institutions are seeing this as a way to go, beaming their projects out to the world. And we have got onto the train with the National Theatre. So we've got a couple of those coming up in November as well.
And you're one of the few venues that does
Yes,
this.
we are the
on Long
only
Island.
venue out here
Okay.
that does this. I believe there might be one mid-island, but we've got a few of them coming up. We just did one called One Man, Two Governors, which was hysterical.
I heard that. And kitchen.
Hysterical. The kitchen was great.
What's amazing about this is that you are here in the theater while this is actually happening on the other side of the world.
Yes.
As it
it's,
happens.
It's
If someone
collaborators.
coughs,
Collaborators is
they're
the next
coughing.
one.
Yeah.
January 14th. You can hear an English
Collaborators.
cough, and you can see an incredible English play. We're also going to be doing the same telecast thing with the Berliner Philharmoniker, if you like classical music.
And
One
even
of the
if you
finest
don't,
symphonies
you're gonna get to like
in the
it.
world. That's right.
Yeah.
Doing Dudamel from Los Angeles is conducting them in one that we're showing. Also, we have their performances in Moscow, and we have another telecast of the New York Philharmonica, which is playing in Pyongyang, which is coming up as well. So there's an opportunity that most people don't go to Pyongyang. It's a tough commute. So, but you can
Not
see
recently,
them. No.
yes.
So here, come to East End, Guildhall, East Hampton. Live stuff. The telecast stuff is great, but now there's also live stuff, which for me is always much more invigorating because you're in the room with the artists and you can really be part of their energy. We have coming up in the theater for kids a special fiesta program on Sunday, November 6th at 3 o'clock. There's a company out of New York City called the Society for Educational Arts. It's a Latino group. They also are part of the Traveling Theater of Puerto Rico. It's the same organization. And they have a kids show called La Cucarachita Martina, the Martina the Cockroach. And it's a very cute, kind of urban, kind of funny, kind of silly, bilingual puppet show. It's a free show at 3 p.m. And they
For all
bring in the
ages.
whole stage. It's great for the kids, all ages, of course. They have, not only do they have the puppets that they bring in with black light, and it's a very cool looking show, but they have a bilingual narrator who's also a singer, this woman who's got a gorgeous voice. And the whole show is told in both languages at the same time, and there's live music, so that's a treat. And it's free, so it's sort of a good deal. And that's on the 6th of November at 3 o'clock, great for kids.
And on the 5th, by the way, you have Raphael.
Farrar, yes. Oh, that's an artist, yes. There is a museum here, I heard.
I heard so too, yeah.
I don't work in that department, so
Yeah,
I don't,
yeah, you're
But they
kind
have
of
good stuff
separate-
on the walls.
separate
We're
but
all
equal.
under one roof, but you know, I'm so much in the theater that I know they do paintings too. Once I walked through there with a cup of coffee and they told me to take it out
They let
of the
you in?
gallery. But yeah, they did.
This wild man?
Raphael Farrar and other great shows coming up in the museum. Visit the
Yeah.
website,
Yeah.
guildhall.org. I will tell you what else is coming up for kids, though, because I like kids. The paper bag
You've got one.
players.
Yeah.
I have a kid.
Me
and the paper bag, he's too old for this, but littler kids
Yeah.
will love the show. It's called Laugh, 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 and it's a tragedy. And you should bring the kids because it's very inexpensive. 2 o'clock, when you're tired of having all these kids running around your house on Thanksgiving weekend, and they're begging for something to do, and you have run out of turkey, you should bring them here Saturday of the Thanksgiving weekend of November, 2 o'clock. Laugh, laugh, laugh. It's a chance to have the kids be entertained for an hour.
Well,
and
you clean up the kitchen.
you can clean up the kitchen. You can send the kids here. We'll take them here, but they're gonna have a good time because the paper bag players are charming and
Wow.
enchanting, and it's
Yeah.
live music and dance and cutouts of cardboard, and they're just they're sort of the quintessential New York theater for kids. They've been around for 40, 50 years, and they always do great work. So I'm happy to have them here.
Yeah.
Our Naked
again.
Stage series continues, which is
Yes.
free readings on Tuesday nights. This is local community actors. I know you have written some pieces for the Naked Stage. We have festivals for playwrights. We have readings of Broadway shows, readings of new work. So we're doing a couple of readings in November. There's a playwright named Frank Tangredi, who's a Long Island native, who's written a new play called Injuries Were Sustained. And there's a reading of that
A full-length
Tuesday night.
play.
Full-length play. And his work is being produced a lot, including a run in Los Angeles with Angela Bassett. So he's a playwright who's really popping now. And
Yeah.
we're very excited that he'll be here. And,
Oh, wonderful.
and this reading that my partner Josh Pearl is putting together is on the 15th of November. And then
Wow.
2 weeks later is a hilarious comedy called Inspecting Carol by Daniel Sullivan from the Seattle Rep, which is a very playful piece filled with clowns and farce. And it's a perfect way to sort of herald in the holidays with this ridiculous,
Yeah.
it's like a local theater, community theater is doing a production of Christmas Carol and they think somebody's coming from Broadway. It's kind of like waiting for Guffman, and it's
Okay.
very silly,
Yeah.
good stuff. Crossroads Music, Michael Clark, you
Oh,
may know,
he's
in
wonderful,
Amagansett, does
yes.
a beautiful job promoting local music and talent, and we're very proud to partner with Michael and Cynthia Daniels, who you may know from WPPB Radio. She hosts a show live on the air that they do every month at Crossroads, showcasing
Oh,
area
yes.
musicians, and so they're
Wonderful
going to do
show.
that. Wonderful. This
Yeah,
is going to
she's
be
brilliant.
the
Yeah.
Christmas show, December 2nd, 7 o'clock, and it's going to be about 15 different local musicians and a house
Really?
band, and they're going to sort of, everybody's going to do 1 or 2 numbers, and there's going to be a lot of beer flowing in the lobby, so you can come and have a
I
beer
caught that,
and listen to
yeah.
some of the best singer-songwriters right from our community. The fall is all about working with the artists from home and,
Yes.
and giving them a chance
Yeah.
to be heard and seen. Summer is more about, Cheyenne Jackson from Glee, but this
Yes.
is more about, who's here, and let's
Yeah.
see what everybody's
Right,
working on.
right.
And the Hampton Ballet Theater School is coming. Sarah Jo Strickland's company does the Nutcracker.
Wonderful. She's our local
Local
ballerina.
dance doyen.
Yes.
She's running it. This is the 4th year maybe for the Nutcracker,
Yes.
which involves all kinds of kids from her conservatory. It couldn't be more
They're so
charming.
talented,
Lovely,
yes.
and that's a
Dedicated.
weekend and sells out, by the way, December 9th
does, so get
to
your
11th.
tickets.
Get your tickets. There's a lot
Yeah.
going on at Guildhall.
Yes. It's hard to keep up. right,
Almost
Josh?
too much. Yes. No,
Yeah.
it's a lot, and it's good.
Yeah.
And
It's
if
all
you-
good.
Yes, thank you for supporting us through the year.
Yeah. Oh, always. And I'm here at almost every, you know.
Yeah,
you
you're
say
a
to
regular.
me,
Yeah.
You say to me, Michelle, are you here again? Because I don't want to miss anything that you guys have.
God bless you.
It's so exciting to me.
Thank
and
you.
it's like you can be only in the Hamptons and do it all. You don't have to leave.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
For those of us who are committed to this area, this is, you can be entertained.
What I think would be wonderful is if they could get Broadway live here. So you wouldn't have to pay that $121 ticket.
We would only
You could
charge
come here.
$119.
Oh,
yes.
yeah, that would be a deal. You don't have to.
We actually have done a little of that. The same company that brings us the National Theater Live
Literally company, yeah.
brought us the Roundabout Theater's production of The Importance of Being Earnest, and we screened that in June of this year, and it was very well received. And so there aren't a lot of distribution deals out there yet, but it's starting to happen more and more. We did a screening of the Sondheim birthday celebration from Broadway Company
Yes.
that Ellen Krass produced, and we screened that in August. So, and that sold out.
Yeah,
So
I heard.
people are interested in that. It's
Yes.
just, it's such a new frontier, this
It
kind of
is.
distribution, that there's not a lot of
is.
content out there yet. But
Yes.
as it becomes available, yeah, we're going to screen it.
And
Sure.
I remember in your lecture that you had, the panelists who were Broadway producers were all discussing that possibility. And it got to be a very heated discussion because some of the producers were completely against it because they said, how are we going to sell tickets
That's a
if
good
people can
point.
just go to Guildhall for $21 and see it live?
It's a very good point, and it's a
right.
tricky issue
tricky.
because, well, Peter Gelb, who's the head of the Met, is quite brilliant in doing this because it has increased his brand.
Yeah.
It has increased awareness about Met. It has increased awareness and appreciation of the art form. He has brought opera out to the masses around the world and is sort of lighting a fire for a new generation of an audience
it.
to appreciate it. And in doing that, he's building a foundation for people who will just get thrilled by the marketing on this is genius because now if they have a chance to come to the Met to see it live, they'll look forward to that. But if they can't, they at least get a chance to see it in their local theater.
the genre.
It's not that many people. The market, even though Broadway theater may be 2,000 seats, 2,500 seats, millions of people around the world never have a chance to travel and
Exactly.
can't afford it.
Limited
so
runs.
I think it's a pretty brilliant democratizing way
Right.
to have art available. And when you're an actor, a director, a performer, you want your work to be out there in the
Yeah.
world. You want that recognition. You
Right.
want the opportunity to share your voice and your vision. So a producer who's afraid that it would, it's kind of like with music, it's like what's going on with sharing
Yes, isn't it?
music. I mean,
Very
isn't it
similar.
wonderful to be able to go to iTunes and pick up content here and there and not, it's
and
the
look
same
up
kind of a
lyrics.
thing.
We couldn't do that in the past. It's making things accessible. And I do feel with Broadway, even New Yorkers, it's so expensive just to live in New York. And then they can't even afford to go
sure.
to the theater very often.
I would think that a savvy producer would
Right.
see this as another revenue stream,
See?
an opportunity to
Listen to
bring in.
Josh.
But I don't know. These producers do their numbers, and they all, everybody's watching the books, and
Yeah.
it is a very hot topic right now in
It's
the
a
industry.
very interesting
How
topic,
do
I
you
think.
how do you manage that?
Yes.
Who gets a cut of the action?
Right.
But the guys at the Met have figured it out, and the guys at National Theater are figuring it out. So
Right.
there's a lot of people jumping on this telecast bandwagon. and
very
If
interesting.
you miss the boat, I think you're gonna miss an opportunity.
It's a little bit like Seinfeld when they went into the reruns and all the money those actors are making, they make more than having to show up.
Sure.
So it's a whole new ballgame out there, isn't it?
absolutely.
But I'm all for Broadway being accessible to the masses
Yes.
in whatever way they can do it. So we don't end up with the common denominator being quite so low as it sometimes seems to go. They can keep it up there more.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, well,
thank
I mean,
you.
that's,
You're
the
always an
variety
inspiration.
makes for an interesting horse race. Thank you.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Josh, it's great to talk to you. We could
Thank
talk
you.
for hours on this subject alone. And I hope you catch up on your rest from this wild summer you
Yeah,
had.
me too.
Stay tuned and keep coming back to Guildhall. It's one of our greatest assets here on the East End, and I, for one, cherish this place. Thank you.